Hello and welcome to the State of the Fleet Industry, a weekly video series produced by Automotive Fleet magazine. I'm Mike Antich, editor of Automotive Fleet, and today I'd like to examine what's occurring in the fleet industry for the week of August 1, 2022. And for this week's episode, I'd like to examine the surprise announcement on July 21 that Merchants Fleet will be acquired by Bain Capital and a wholly owned subsidiary of the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, which is one of the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world. So under the acquisition agreement, Bain Capital and Abu Dhabi Investment Authority will acquire Merchants Automotive Group, which does business as Merchants Fleet, which we're all familiar with, but it also does business as Merchants Auto, which is the largest used vehicle dealership in the entire state of New Hampshire, and which is how Merchants originally started as a company. And this transaction is expected to close in relatively short order, sometime in the third quarter of 2022. So in addition to the ownership by Bain Capital and the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, the 11 members of Merchants' executive leadership team will also be co-investors in the business. And all 11 members of the leadership team will also remain in their current management roles. One exception is that the CEO, Brendan Keegan, will assume the additional responsibilities of president and chairperson, taking over the position previously held by the outgoing owner, Gary Singer. So let's take a step back and assess this announcement. What are the advantages of this sale other than providing the Singer family with an exit strategy from their 60-year-old family business? Well, in my opinion, what is significant about the acquisition, which was also cited by Merchants, is that it'll provide the company with additional resources and much deeper pockets to accelerate the launch of new services, create a financial environment for more rapid implementation of new technologies, and to provide the financial wherewithal for Merchants to expand into new markets. And I think these are significant advantages, and it mirrors comments made by the leadership of other recently acquired fleet management companies. The Merchants sales announcement on July 21 came right on the heels of the earlier June 13th announcement that Wheels Donlen's parent company had signed a stock purchase agreement with LeasePlan Corporation to acquire LeasePlan USA. And the ultimate intent of that agreement is to combine the LeasePlan USA business with the Wheels Donlen business to create a unified fleet management company. As a result, the merger will provide the financial and staffing capabilities for Wheels Donlen to expand its services and provide new offerings to its fleet clients. But there's also another aspect to this, and according to Shlomo Krandis, CEO of Wheels Donlen, another reason for creating the new, larger unified fleet management company is to be better positioned for what he sees as an onslaught of new, non-traditional competitors. And I totally agree with this assessment. In an interview with Automotive Fleet, Shlomo says that the fleet industry is in a unique period where we're going to see all sorts of new companies entering the fleet space as competitors. And one revealing example cited by Shlomo was Wheels' encounter with a software as a service provider or SaaS provider that was trying to sign away one of its clients, but unsuccessfully. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that I ever heard of a SaaS provider attempting to do so. But I predict it won't be the last time, however. Plus, we have major legacy OEMs that are bundling their electric vehicle assets with new service systems and recharging infrastructure to be sold as a package. We've never seen this before in the industry. In addition, we're witnessing many new EV manufacturers creating entirely new business models with direct sales to end users and direct vehicle delivery to end users. It's been my longtime contention that the greatest threats or opportunities, depending on your perspective, to the fleet industry will come from outside of the traditional fleet industry. The competitive landscape in the fleet services industry is changing, and there will be new entrants into the fleet management space. Some will be complementary to existing services, while others will be competitive. And the best advice I ever received starting in this industry was, if you want to see how the fleet industry would change in the future, don't look within the fleet industry, look outside of fleet. And the person that gave me this advice many years ago also stressed that I should follow the development of new business practices in other industries and watch emerging technologies and try to imagine how they can be implemented in fleet management. At the time that this advice was given to me, it was just prior to the widespread outsourcing trend that swept through the whole fleet management industry. But at the time, the trend had just started in the IT industry and then spread elsewhere. So again, you want to know the direction the fleet is going in, don't look in fleet, look outside of fleet. And in the case of the outsourcing trend, it started outside of fleet in the IT industry and then spread elsewhere. Today, I believe the momentum driving industry consolidation in the marketplace will continue. I know of several companies outside the US that have expressed an interest in wanting to enter the US fleet market by making acquisitions versus starting a greenfield operation. And many of these companies were involved in the bidding for these other companies that have recently been acquired. And within the US, you have companies such as Amazon. It's not only a major fleet customer, but it's also a company that has the capabilities to easily become a major fleet service provider. In today's market, the rate of change in our industry has been breathtaking. And when you think about it, in the space of just 15 months, the fleet management industry has already witnessed or will soon witness ownership changes in 4 of the nation's top 7 fleet management companies. So, with this as my final observation, I'd like to conclude my State of the Fleet Industry presentation for the week of August 1, 2022, and I'd like to thank you for watching.